Audio's going. And you're on.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing well, thank you. What is your name?
My name is Hannah.
And Hannah, where are you from?
I'm from Davis, California.
Davis, California. And what year were you born?
1993.
1993. Mm-hmm. So were you born in Davis?
No, I was born in San Francisco. Then we moved out when I was about 1.
Okay. So then you grew up and went to high school in Davis?
Yes.
Did you like going there?
To high school in Davis?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I went to a weird tech business school. We were all issued really shitty Dell laptops. And we got to make PowerPoints and video and audio and give presentations. And the normal high school made fun of us because we all wore like business suits on our presentation days. Mm-hmm. It was good, but it was a lot of pressure. And so I transferred into independent study. You only have to go to school 10, 15 minutes a week, just hang out in coffee shops and do homework and read the rest of the time. So yeah, ultimately it was good.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Do you use any of those skills in your day-to-day? Do you feel like that's still in your like library of knowledge?
Kind of. Every once in a while, I actually fantasize about giving a PowerPoint presentation because I'm secretly really good at public speaking, and like putting on my old suit and stuff. I still sometimes make music, but besides that, no, I don't really like apply it. I don't really need to apply it to life right now.
Okay. Well, what kind of music do you make?
Oh, just nothing much, like light trap, trance stuff. It's nothing like very meaningful to me. It's just something to do something creative for like a few hours.
Yeah. It can be very meditative.
Yeah.
What kind of program do you use for that?
Oh, just GarageBand.
Just GarageBand?
Yeah.
Okay. It's very versatile.
Yeah, I have an old laptop, so it comes with it. I don't have to pay for it. So
yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
So do you keep in touch with anybody from high school?
No, I don't, except I'm moving into an apartment December 1st. And when I was going to look at it, I heard my name, and I looked up, and it was the first person I ever dated. We dated for a year when I was 13 to 14, and it's actually really nice to get in touch, and it's like things haven't even changed, and we're already hanging out and stuff, so.
That's cool. Yeah. So it's not awkward at all, or?
It's not awkward. It's weird. We were like, this is so weird that we ran into each other, and that you're living below me now, or she's living above me, and yeah. But it's not awkward. It's very homey in a weird way.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you go to college?
I did for a short period of time. I didn't do very well in school, and so I didn't even get into Humboldt, but I went to the community college because they have dorms, and I was there for a semester, but then I got in this car accident and broke a bunch of bones, had to have surgery. Part of my pinky is made of metal.
Wow.
And yeah, so I had to go home.
Oh no. How many, like a lot of bones?
Yeah, I broke all my fingers, and I broke my elbow and my hip and my rib cage, and I cracked my skull. I had to be helicoptered out of, accidentally drove off a cliff because we're up in the hills.
Accidentally drove off a cliff.
Yeah, and so they had to bring out the defibrillator and helicopter me out. It was this huge thing. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so lucky.
Yeah.
I mean, you're walking normal and...
Yeah, no, I'm definitely...
How far was the drop?
It's hard to remember because I, like, died. Right. But I think they said it was like a 2,000 drop.
2,000 feet?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How scary.
Yeah. But...
So when you did go to college for a brief time,
yes.
What did you study?
I wasn't quite sure yet. I wanted to either do something in the medical field or the just life science field. I've always loved very healing jobs, and so I thought a nurse or I always wanted to be a phlebotomist when I was like a little kid for some reason. So that, yeah, and they had a great nursing program, so I was kind of leaning towards that.
Do you have any brothers or sisters?
I have a sister.
You have a sister. What's your relationship like with her?
Great. She's probably my best friend. My parents got divorced, and so we were always together, shuffling between houses. And she lives in San Francisco. She works at the San Francisco Opera House. So
Cool.
I go.
Doing what?
She is an electrician. So, yeah, I get to go see free operas.
Oh, that's really cool.
And I get to hide in the sidelines like a weird phantom.
Older or younger?
Older.
Older. What is a phlebotomist?
Oh, a phlebotomist is someone who takes blood. They take blood from your body and run diagnostics and, learn how to treat you through that.
Very interesting. Would you say that you've had a favorite job?
Probably two. I was actually an art model, a figure drawing model for a few years, which was really great because I also really love art. I love the art world. But the job that I have right now is probably my favorite. I work at a sensory deprivation tank spa.
Very cool. Could you describe to me like what it is that the sensory deprivation tank is?
Yeah, so it was developed in the 70s by, I should know his name. It ends in Lilly, something C. Lilly. But the whole point is to not have any senses. So it's this dark vessel filled with water with 800 pounds of Epsom salt. So, when you normally float in water, it reaches about here.
Mm-hmm.
And the Epsom salt, it reaches about there because your whole body floats so much better. It's like being in the Dead Sea. And it's completely dark, and you have earplugs in, so you can't see, you can't hear, and the water and the air is skin temperature, so you lose sense of where your skin ends and the water begins and the air begins. And so it's this weird void that you're in.
And what are the benefits of going into that?
The cool thing is people get different things out of it. Some people go there to meditate. Some people just go there to relax. Some to sleep. Some to get to help with creativity. Some for joint pain. So it can help in a lot of different aspects, actually.
Do you like doing it?
Yes, I do love floating a lot.
How much is it usually?
New people, 65, and then returning 85, unless if...
For how long?
Oh, it's 75 minutes, unless we have super floats that are 3 hours.
People do 3-hour floats?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's intimidating, but I finally did my first one, and it was actually really great.
Did you stay awake?
I actually didn't know if I was awake or not. I reached this weird point of like, am I dreaming or not? But I'm too lucid, so like I can't be dreaming. Are my eyes even open? Are they closed? I can't tell. And like you lose so much senses you didn't even know you had in your body.
Did you have any visuals or revelations?
I do have visuals sometimes, especially if we also have this weird psychedelic light machine. And so if you do that before and then you go in, you still see the colors from it swirling around. And for some reason, I always see the color red, like when I'm in the tank. That's like the immediate color that pops up. But
is that common, or you think like unique to you, or maybe some kind of subconscious thing?
I was talking to a client yesterday, actually, and he said he always saw blue. And so...
oh, interesting.
Yeah. If you relate it to like chakras or something, like... each chakra has a different color, and I think I always mix up which direction it goes, but I think red is the crown. It goes through the rainbow. I need to study it more.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
Are you in a relationship?
No, I'm not. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I don't know. Like, my ex-girlfriend, you know, things are rekindling kind of, but yeah.
Childhood sweetheart.
Yeah, so I don't know.
So what do you do in your spare time right now?
Nothing much now. I've been a little stressed because I've been moving around a lot. And I'm finally moving into a home that I'm going to be for a while. So I've been focusing on moving and selling my car and a bunch of stuff that I don't really care for. But besides that, I really love yoga and just walking aimlessly, listening to music. Nothing too, like, interesting.
Do you practice yoga like at home, or do you have like a studio or class setting that you go into?
I wish I could afford to go to classes, but I've been doing it actually at work. I'll go into work like on my off days, and we have a little side room where the light machine is, and clients don't use it during the week, so I'll do yoga in there. And we also have showers at work, so it works out pretty well.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
That's cool. What kind of music do you like to listen to?
So much.
Besides trap.
I actually don't really listen to trap and trend. I think it's just that's the easiest music to make, and like, cause I actually draw and do watercolor a lot. But if I'm too anxious and my hands are too shaky, then I'll be like, fuck it, I'm making music, and so I don't actually listen to trap or trance that much. I really love classical, and I love Pink Floyd, and Peruvian music. My mom would always play it when I was a kid for some reason, and so I have. She's white. I don't know why, but so I have a weird soft spot in my heart for Peruvian music, and yeah, I don't know. I like everything.
What was the last thing you listened to?
Last thing, it was actually a classical modern Spanish album. The album is called Taurus. I'm trying to think. I think the band is Octore. I have a horrible memory.
Do you play any instruments besides the keyboard?
No. I tried to learn violin when I was a little kid, but then my teacher's like, I can't teach left-handed people. Like, get out of my studio. And so I'm like, okay.
Gosh.
And then my mom met this homeless man who played the flute amazingly, and then she's like, yo, do you want to like live here and teach my daughter how to play the flute? And he was like, yeah, that sounds great. But I had braces on, and so I couldn't play flute very well. So
how long did this guy stay with you?
I think maybe like 2 months. Yeah.
Was that weird having like this homeless guy?
No, my mom's boyfriend had lots of like shady characters come in and out of the house. Nothing bad ever happened, but like, you know, people down on their luck a lot.
A lot of transient type people.
Yeah.
So if you could do something different than work at the sensory deprivation tank place,
Yeah.
what would your dream job be?
It's so hard. The first job I ever wanted was an opera singer. I remember listening to Carmen when I was like 5, and I'm like, this is the most beautiful sound I've ever heard in my life. And especially now, I have a fantasy of me being an opera singer and my sister working at the opera house, and us being from like different worlds but working at the same place. So that'd be really great.
So you can sing?
I can. Not in front of people very well though, so who knows how that's gonna go.
Well, it's just practice.
Yeah.
Is there a specific, do you just like singing opera, or are there other like genres that you enjoy?
Definitely soul. Soul is easier. I have a very low voice, so soul comes naturally. With opera, I'd have to like really, really try. But I can do it. It just doesn't come as naturally.
Okay. So where do you live right now?
Right now, I live on the other side of the block. I'm living there until the end of the month, and then I'm moving to, I guess, East Oakland at the lower under the hills. I don't know Oakland very well. On 38th Avenue.
Okay.
So.
Have you liked living in Oakland so far?
I've only lived here a month, but it's been good. Yeah, it's nice being close to work. So.
Do you like movies?
I do love movies.
What was the last movie you saw?
I saw Thor in theaters, which I think is probably the best Marvel movie that has come out.
Really?
Yeah. Well, Guardians of the Galaxy and Thor Ragnarok.
Okay.
But
What's your favorite movie? Or
that's really hard.
top 5-ish.
Did you ever see The Fall?
No, I don't think so.
It has Lee Pace in it, and it's this man who's very sick, and this little girl comes and he starts telling her stories of these fantasy stories, but they're related back to real life, and it's just this very aesthetically pleasing movie. I like sad movies. I like beautiful movies. Like, yeah, lots of Wes Anderson.
That's nice. Who's in The Fall?
Lee Pace.
Who is that?
Oh, he was in Pushing Daisies, the TV show. I'm trying to think
Who
of what
else
else
is in it?
Not a lot of well-known. He's, I think, the only well-known actor.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're good. What are you most proud of?
Most proud of? I guess where I am today, because I grew up a very emotional person, very volatile, and I've spent many, many years trying to figure out how to be less volatile and how to work productively and how to be a level human being. And it can be hard to see it sometimes, but even my family reminds me that I'm doing a lot better than when I was like a teenager and stuff. So I guess I'm proud that I've worked so hard to be a functioning human being.
So volatile, are you like really angry?
No, I was like incredibly sad all the time for no reason, really, growing up. I don't know. My parents said I was just born sad. I was a sad baby. So, yeah, which was very stark to my very happy sister, so.
How do you feel that you've taught yourself to be more even, like less sad?
Definitely lots of therapy. I recommend therapy to everyone. It's not just for crazy people. And medication, because lots of people have hormone imbalances or chemical imbalances. And so through lots of different types of therapy and learning how to talk to people and talk to yourself especially, and practicing, like practice what to do in certain situations, like how would a healthy person handle this, or like
How do you practice?
catching yourself and like realizing your cycles, cycles that lead to bad things. If you catch yourself in that cycle and then you think about what you should do and not what you want to do, what's good for you, and just doing that over and over again. And even if you slip, having compassion for yourself to move forward.
That's good. And so you feel like it's more of a something you were born with, maybe some kind of hormonal imbalance, not necessarily like troubled childhood or...
Well, that does play into it. Yeah. There's definitely childhood stuff, but that just amplified everything.
What is something that you would like to see before you die?
Peace. Peace would be nice. Like, all the shit that's happening right now doesn't sit very well. So just any type of calmness would be nice. Or working towards... Because you can see in the world that we're trying and we're struggling to work towards peace or something better for us, but we just can't see it in the now. And so it'd be nice to kind of see over the hill, like, oh, that's what it looks like. Like, that's what I'd like to see.
You're like, and now I can die.
Yes.
What would you say is your favorite thing to do? I mean, everything's crazy right now and you've been moving around, probably not a lot of time for yourself.
Favorite thing to do? I don't know. Definitely see movies. I know that's really boring, but me and my sister go movie hopping a lot and see as many movies without getting caught. And also skydiving. I haven't been skydiving in years, so that's always like a reset.
Do you ever get caught?
We've gotten caught like twice. They don't do anything. They're just like hoodlums, like get out of here. So, yeah, you don't get like arrested or anything, but not that I'm recommending this to anyone. But yeah.
Have you been skydiving many times?
A handful, maybe like 5.
That's really cool. So why do you think that what is skydiving like?
It's a weird. I don't know. Have you ever stood at like on a really tall building and you look over and you just like imagine yourself going over and then you have that panic?
Mm-hmm.
Just like think about giving into it and just being like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna do it," and in a safe way, so you don't have that panic. I never had that panic.
Not even the first time?
No, I was so excited, like, that I didn't care at all. Like, by the second time, I'm like, can we do, like, a backflip off this? And they're like, okay. So, yeah, it's like being on a roller coaster, but with no safety, just, like, going down as fast as possible. It's hard to explain, but, yeah.
You feel comfortable and, like, trusting of all of your equipment and stuff?
Yeah, but also if I were to die, like skydiving would be a great way to die. So I'm not too...
Is it solo or tandem?
I've done tandem. I haven't done solo yet. Like, you need to pay a lot more to do that, which I don't have a lot of money yet now. So once I rake up some money, I do solo.
So this is kind of a weird, off-the-wall question, but what do you feel is the worst of the 7 deadly sins?
I have to remember them. I don't think about them often, which is a bad sign.
Or maybe it's a good sign that you're not indulging that much.
Yeah. I'm very slothful. I'm very lazy, but I don't think that's the worst one.
I think everyone has, like, their one that's kind of more them,
Yeah.
but doesn't make you a terrible person. You're maybe not, like, going deep end of it.
Yeah. I think greed might be people who are very greedy, like, not only with money, but, like, emotionally greedy, like, just want to suck all the emotion out of you. That's a very hard thing to deal with, so probably greed.
Do you feel like you've experienced that?
Yeah. Definitely. I love listening to people, and some people who don't get listened to very often because they're, like, emotional manipulation. So they get very excited when someone will listen to them, and then you kind of become intertwined and you realize, oh, this person isn't healthy to be around, kind of situation.
What do you feel that that war is as far as the 7 deadly sins?
That war?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my first reaction is greed also, because most wars are because they want something from that country or that place or that person or whatever you consider war to be. So probably greed.
So the last thing you would like to see before you die is peace. Why do you feel that things are so weird and messed up right now?
Well, I mean, Trump is happening, but also we've been set back so much with race and sexuality and feminism, and like it seems like everything is almost tumbling backwards. All these blocks that we created to make something beautiful is starting to crumble, which is just very disconcerting. I don't know. Lots of people are on edge. Healthcare scares me for a person who doesn't have a lot of money. Like, what's going to happen in the future? Like, I have hip problems. And
Especially if you smash all your bones.
yeah, so, is that a pre-existing condition? I don't know. There's just lots of things to worry about. And even talking to kids, and kids are worried about these things. Like, usually kids are oblivious about what's happening.
Sorry, can we take a quick, just like 5 minutes really quick?
Yeah.
Okay, would you hand me that little card over there?
So one thing I would say about me reading or doing questions versus you doing questions,
Uh-huh.
I've burned through like all the questions.
Okay. So you're running out of stuff to talk about?
Now I'm like, I wish I had 5 more of these.
We are almost halfway through. So at the halfway point, the camera cuts out at 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So then I have the subject just like sit still and silently for 3 minutes, and then you can go back. So I guess the second half will just be like a lot more free flow conversation.
Just
like
gonna
whatever you guys wanna
improv.
talk about,
Yeah.
you know. But you guys are about 3 minutes away from that, so the camera's gonna cut out in about 3 minutes. Okay, so you guys are good to go again. The card is full, so
So do you want her to just stare straight at the camera for a minute?
No, because the camera's still going. It was the audio that cut out because the card was
Oh,
full. I thought
gotcha.
I cleared it, but anyway.
Okay.
Sorry, I interrupted you guys, but you guys can start again.
Alrighty.
I can't remember what we were talking about last.
So you like painting
Yes.
and primarily with watercolors?
Yeah, I like mostly illustration. Like, I do a lot of pen work, and so I'll do watercolor usually if I'm feeling fancy.
I like that. What do you like to draw?
Definitely people. I've taken one drawing class and I got really excited, but we just did like vases and like plants, which is fun for about a week, but having a whole class about drawing stills, I get bored. I think the human form is really interesting, and so drawing people, and I mostly just make art for other people. If I like them, I want to make something they'll like, and so, their favorite like cartoon characters, or if they're really into a certain kind of plant, or like, I don't know, something very personal.
Oh, that's really neat. What do you feel is interesting about the human form?
Just how different everyone is, and like, especially after being an art model, and like after the class is done, you get to walk around and like see everyone, and everyone has different drawing styles, and some people like draw your scars or they don't, or some people want to make you more attractive, or they draw you just as you are, and like everyone's perception of the human body is different. And there's just so many different layers to like emotion that's evoked through the human body. And yeah, so I'm just fascinated.
That's really cool. So how long were you doing art modeling? Like, how did you get into doing that?
I started when I was at school. And then after my car accident, I was a pizza delivery girl, and which I hated, and I wanted to do something I loved again, so I just went to the art center in Davis being like, hey, you need a model? And they're like, yeah. And so I started modeling there also.
So did you have like certain poses or things that you did?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's good to know a lot of different poses. And I did a lot of yoga back then, so I knew lots of yoga poses.
You were doing yoga poses?
Yeah, which, like, very simplistic one. I did make the mistake of doing, like, a standing tree pose because they're like, oh, we're going to do a quick, like, 10-minute sketch. And so I did the, like, standing tree pose. And I'm like, oh, I got this. But by the time of the end of it, I was, like, shaking. And actually, when time was up, I, like, fell out of it and everyone started clapping, which made me feel really good. Because they're like, look at you go.
That's funny.
Okay, so the camera just cut out. Do you need a minute? Do you want water or anything? You feel good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, just start again. So then on the second one, that's where we go for 3 minutes with no talking, no questions or anything.
Okay.
Just stare at the camera, that way you can get like a good...
All right, 3, 2, 1.
So, when you were doing art modeling, did you ever do it nude?
Oh, always, yeah.
Always nude.
Yes.
So you're doing nude yoga poses.
Yeah.
Oh, how interesting. You felt very comfortable and confident doing that?
I mean, it took a while, and especially since I've always been, like, chubbier. But I remember talking to a teacher, and they're like, no, we always get, like, skinny girls, and we're so tired. It's so much more interesting if you have, like, curves, and, like, there's better shadows, and, you know. So I'm like, oh, wow, that does make sense.
Interesting.
And, yeah, and that just reaffirmed that every body type is just so beautiful, and everyone appreciates every body type. So, yeah, it gave me a lot of confidence, actually, to do it.
That was volunteered or paid?
Paid.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Paid to just lay around naked. It's pretty cool.
Seems very Greek.
Yeah. I wish someone was there to feed me grapes.
Why did you hate pizza delivery?
I was It's mostly my coworkers. My first day, they locked me in the freezer as like, because that's what they did to new people. They locked me in the big freezer for like half an hour. I was the only female pizza delivery driver, so there's lots of jokes like, hey, shouldn't you like be up front in the kitchen? And yeah, I walked in to the back one time and my manager was jerking off onto a pizza, and I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, she was a bitch on the phone, I'm giving her special sauce. And I'm like, you're my manager. So it was just like a really awful place to be, and like I overworked a lot because like, yeah, I don't know, they would just always ask me to work and I'm like, yeah, I guess, I don't know. So I would work constantly. I had like one day off a week.
Oh, jeez.
So
What was the money like?
I got pretty good tips since I was like a female delivery driver. People would call and ask if the sex phone operator was there because I have a really low voice, and they're like, hey, is the sex phone operator there? And they're like, Hannah, someone wants to talk to you. And so, yeah, I'd deliver pizza and they're like, hey, she came. So I got really good tips, which is cool. Yeah. I think I got like $600 in tips every month. So that was like mainly my salary was tips.
Yeah, that's not too bad. Do you ever miss Davis?
I miss the farmland on the outskirts, and I miss biking, and that you could be at a park at like 2 a.m. and not be like, who's around? Like, should I carry a weapon? Or, yeah, I miss getting drunk and going to pet cows in the middle of the night, and like, because there's nothing better to do besides like be with your friends and like go pet cows. Yeah, so I miss like the small town feels.
What are the cows like?
The cows are very sweet, actually. Except for the last time that I did that, I was 1 out of 3 people in my town to get swine flu. Because I was really drunk, and I'm like, I'm going to drink milk straight from this cow. And then I got swine flu and had to be quarantined.
So what is swine flu?
Swine flu is like an infection if you are in contact with farm animal fecal matter.
Oh no.
Yeah. So it's super gross and it's awful.
What does it do to you, like, physically?
It kind of feels, have you ever had mono?
No.
Oh, okay. You're just tired and you hurt. Your body aches and your muscles hurt and you don't want to move and you can't stay awake. And yeah, it basically feels like mono, and it's kind of hard to breathe.
Have you ever seen the cow area that's off the 5 freeway between here and LA?
No. I mean, I probably have, but didn't notice or something. Is it like a famous cow area?
No, it's actually kind of depressing. It's like a lot of cows that are obviously shoved into like a very small area, and there's just like thousands of them. So it doesn't seem like very good conditions for them at all.
No, that is awful.
How are the cows in Davis treated?
Pretty well, because UC Davis, their biggest department is agriculture and like farming and stuff, and so I think they treat their cows pretty well. It's a pretty big open area where they can walk around. There's not too many. There is one controversial cow that...
A single controversial cow?
Yes, because there's this day in Davis where the whole campus is open and it's kind of like this huge party, and they show the different departments, and there's this one cow that surgically has a hole in its stomach with a glove where you can reach inside the cow's stomach and feel it digesting. The cow doesn't seem to be bothered by this at all, but it's very controversial, and like, I don't think you should really do that to a cow. It is an interesting feeling to have your hand inside a cow while
you done
digesting. Yeah, when I was like a little kid. And so yeah, I feel for that cow. I'm concerned for that cow. But the other cows are fine.
What does it feel like?
Just wet clumps of hay and then just like subtle movements. I don't like, it's hard to describe the inside of a cow's stomach, I guess. Especially through this very thick glove. But yeah, you can feel the clumps of food that you can feel some pieces of hay, but it's mostly digested. And you can feel the walls of the stomach, which are pretty soft.
Did the milk taste different from the cow than like at the grocery store?
Yeah, and it's weird because I'm lactose intolerant, so I never drink milk, so I don't really know what it tastes like. But I remember it being very thick and a little more sour than I thought it would. I was also very drunk at the time, so it's hard to remember. But yeah.
Would you do it again?
No. No, I would not. I wonder if you can get swine flu twice, or if it's like mono, where once you have it, you never get it again.
You might have built up an immunity.
That's true.
Do all the udder sucking you want.
Yay me.
Have you ever milked a cow?
Yeah, I've milked cows and goats, and yeah, that's it.
Did your family, do you guys like have any farmland or?
Oh no, I guess in Davis, it's just something you do sometimes, like at festivals, they'll be like, hey, you want to go milk a goat? And you'll be like, yeah. It's like, I don't know. It's like when you go to a pumpkin patch and they have little chickens and that you can pet and stuff. It's just something they bring out for
festive goat milking.
Yeah. God, I'm making Davis sound so weird. It's not like super
It sounds
weird.
neat. I want to go there and milk a goat.
Yeah. Well,
I would like to own a goat.
me too. I think goats, especially fainting goats. Have you seen them? They run, and if you scare them, they just like fall over.
Oh no.
They're
okay though?
Yeah, they're fine. It's like,
how come they do that?
it's kind of like how a possum plays possum. Like when they're scared, they just kind of fall over, and then they get up, and it's fine.
Like they'll leave me alone.
Yeah.
Can you milk a fainting goat?
Probably. I've never
Are they
actually
more
met a
pet?
fainting goat.
Like,
I don't know. I don't know too much about fainting goats besides that they're very cute. So, yeah.
do you have any pets?
No, I wish. But
You're very transitional right now.
yeah, transitioning is not very good for pets.
Oh, it's hard on them.
So,
What was one of the presentations that you did in high school?
I'm trying to think. One of the coolest things is we did a mock World War II. And my favorite part about it, so you're a freshman and you don't know this, but every year all the seniors, I don't know how to explain this. You get this, the teachers get a call saying you have to go to the auditorium and you have your fake passport. You're put into a family. My family was from Prussia and I was the daughter. My last name was Dostoevsky. And you have to make your fake passport. And they're like, oh, bring your passports to the auditorium. And it's completely dark. And the seniors are like pushing you around and talking in tongues. And like, it's supposed to be like, immigration. And so they like separate you, like you're with your mother and you can't see your brother or father. And then like you separate from them and you get put into here and you don't know why. And if you ask questions, you're like thrown into this like corner of the room and you have to start the process over again. And like, it was actually very jarring, but, yeah. And then we made like warships, like big model warships. And we gave presentations about Prussia, my group, which is very interesting. I don't know, they just made every experience different. We did mock trials with like Napoleon, like seeing if he was in the right or not as a leader, which I totally flunked. I was Napoleon and I was on trial and I did not do well because I didn't study. So yeah, we gave very weird, unconventional presentations.
That sounds so interesting. That's really neat. What was your favorite presentation to do?
I mean, definitely the Prussia one because like I had a really good team and we just like aced it. Another one was we were supposed to make a trailer that was the opposite of what the movie was. So there's this, I don't know if it's famous, but there's this very good trailer on YouTube that's like Scary Mary, and it's Mary Poppins, and they ripped parts of Mary Poppins and made it into a horror movie. And so that was a really fun one. We actually like redid the Mary one, which I don't know, just like changing the perception of something.
Right.
It was very interesting to me.
Prussia is Germany?
It's Russia and Austria. I should know since I gave a presentation. But yeah, it was before Russia was like its own thing. But just mainly Russia.
Scary Mary. That's pretty funny. What would you say, could you think of like your favorite childhood memory?
We used to have a house in Maine, and it was super cheap to buy property there because it was in the middle of the forest. And so we lived in this cabin in Maine, and me and my sister would just wander around aimlessly. Like, we wouldn't see our parents all day. They'd just be like, get out of the house. And we would just walk around and like pick berries and hope they're not poisonous and eat them. And every once in a while we'd see a bear, and it'd be really exciting. And it's $5 to get a live lobster in Maine.
Wow.
And so we'd eat lobster like every night. We'd go get our lobsters, and we'd have lobster races on the floor to see like what the fastest lobster was. And yeah, so I have a lot of good memories of Maine and just living in the forest. And
When did you live in Maine?
We would only live there whenever we weren't in school, so spring and summer and winter. And before I was born to when I was about 8. So, yeah, 8 years.
So you guys would get live lobsters and then cook them?
Yeah,
How do you cook them?
boil them alive. Everyone thinks that sound is them screaming, but it's really air escaping their shell, like the pressure. But, yeah.
Did you know that when you were little?
Yeah, and lots of people think lobsters are red, but they're not. They're only red after you cook them.
What color are they?
They're like a gray brown-ish. And in Maine, McDonald's had a McLobster roll, and as a little kid, I didn't understand how in California they didn't have a McLobster roll, so I just sounded like this pretentious child, like, where's my McLobster roll? So,
That's pretty funny.
yeah.
It's neat how they have, like, if you go to Hawaii, their McDonald's, they have, like, musubi.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's any other, like, states that have, like, McDonald's with, like, something unique to that region.
Oh, that's true. There's probably a lot more, like, barbecue items in Texas or something. That's the only one I could really think of. But
Do you travel a lot?
not recently. When I was about 17, I saved up all my money, and my sister was studying abroad in London, and so I went to go meet her, and we just traveled around in the Netherlands and Germany, and we went to Amsterdam and Holland, and well, that's in the Netherlands, but Ireland.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, that was the last time I did like a huge travel trip.
How long did you get to travel for?
I think 2 or 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was your favorite place to visit?
It's hard. Amsterdam was really cool. Mostly, like, it's just such a culture shock that there's, like, you know, smoking cafes. And I was, like, 17, so I'm like, this is amazing. And so I got to drink everywhere I went. Being in the red light district with, like, all the prostitutes in their windows. And I'm like, oh, it's so beautiful and cool. And, yeah, that was a huge, like, culture shock. But I felt most welcome probably in Ireland. And
Why is that?
everyone's just so friendly and like wants to talk to you, and there's just like people singing in the streets, and like there's just lots of merriment, whereas in England people are much more like reserved, and especially if you're American, they're like, oh, we don't really want to talk to you. So I mean, we were just in like the London area, so probably in the outskirts, like maybe they would be more interested in interacting with Americans.
What part of Ireland did you go to?
Just Dublin.
Dublin. Yeah. And there was just people singing in the streets?
Yeah, no, we were walking around at like 2 a.m, and someone was like on like a box with a guitar with probably like 40 people surrounding them singing Beatles songs. And Germany was weird. We went on National like Pillow Fight Day, and so there's people dressed as like rabbits and like naked or like just in front of this huge building doing this pillow fight. And I have this picture that's probably my favorite from the trip, where this police car is coming to break them up, and there's this guy dressed as a rabbit pretending to fuck this guy dressed as a duck on the police car with like pillows. And I remember you have to pay to use the bathroom in Germany in public, and we found one pub. My sister went down and she's like, I didn't have to pay. There's a woman, she glared at me, but I didn't have to pay. And so I'm like, sick. And so I did it. And then right before we left, she went down and I heard this screaming, and she runs up. She's like, we gotta go. And this old German woman is like chasing my sister out because she didn't pay to use the bathroom. Yeah, Germany was weird, but very cool.
Why do you think you have to pay to use the bathroom?
I mean, it's just like a weird tax thing. I guess. I mean, they don't really have taxes. So just, I don't know. It's just a way to get money.
Revenue.
Yeah.
Man, that would be rough. You're like, I don't have any money. I really gotta
Yeah,
go.
I know. Yeah. Thankfully, yeah, we weren't in Germany for very, very long. I mean, I wish I could have stayed longer, but at the same time, we didn't have a lot of money. Like, we basically just lived off of Kinder Bueno bars, which are these weird candy bars. We'd eat like one nice meal in every place, but that's all we could really afford.
Yeah, that's fun. That's such a neat bonding experience, too.
Yeah. No, traveling in Europe with someone is a very bonding experience. You really can tell if you can hang out with that person or not.
Yeah. How did you guys get around? Did you take a train or?
We took lots of buses, and there's a tunnel between England and France, which we had to be for hours because France is always on strike, and so they would be gone for like 4 hours when they should be working. So it's like impossible to be anywhere on time.
What are they on strike about?
They're always on strike about something. I don't know. It's like, I remember asking and no one really even knew, because they're like, they do this probably like 3 times a week. And I'm like, oh,
Like,
okay.
you don't feel like working right now.
Yeah. So.
So what brought your family to Davis?
They wanted to grow up in a place that was like safe, because we lived in San Francisco. My mom wanted to stay, but my dad was like, no, we need to find a good school district and somewhere where it's cheaper and safer. And so, yeah.
What do your parents do?
My mom is a masseuse, and my dad, he puts on events for niche magazines to learn how to create better advertisement, and so that they can, do better in the magazine world.
How do you like the Bay Area so far?
I love the Bay. I've always loved the Bay, and I would take the train out here to visit my friends when I couldn't drive, and it's such a beautiful train ride. And I don't know, you just step off the train and the air is instantly cooler and a bit thinner, or not thinner, thicker with fog and stuff. And I don't know, there's lots of different people, understanding people. In Davis, people are a little uppity, so it's nice being in a more fluid environment.
Could you see yourself staying here?
Yes, definitely. Definitely want to stay in the Bay for as long as possible.
How long have you been working at the sensory?
I've only actually been working there for 4 months, so not too long. Yeah. Before that, I was a swim instructor for children.
Was that fun or kind of difficult?
It was fun and difficult and crazy. Baby classes were my favorite because, like, you know, you're not really swimming. You're with their parents and you're just going, okay, we're going to go underwater, and, like, dipping them underwater. And, like, you sing lots of songs and put them in little floaties and, like, move them around. And so, yeah, those were my favorite classes.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
What was the age range?
From 2-month-old to, I think, the oldest kids, I don't know, or maybe like 9 or 10. Yeah. I mean, they're in different categories of swimming, but yeah.
Did you ever have any mishaps?
Mishaps. Not really, thankfully. Yeah, nothing. I mean, yeah, no kid drowned, which is cool. That's my main goal,
good,
is to not let a child drown.
Good job.
Definitely, the older kids were more intimidating and, like...
Intimidating?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You have to watch lots of kids at once, and, like, there's lots of sassy kids, and I'm a big pushover, so I like the younger ones because they kind of listen to you, and you're like, okay, we're doing this now. But sometimes with the older ones, it's like, okay, we're gonna do butterfly, and they'll be like, no, and I'm like, what do you mean, no, what? And so you have to struggle with them a little bit more. But yeah,
Did you like doing that?
I did. It was a lot of pressure.
In what way?
Each class was half an hour, and you didn't have breaks in between, so you're in the water for like 6 hours, going from class to class every half an hour. And, you know, there was lots of, like, mostly the parents were difficult. They'd be like, why is my kid not swimming as well as they should be? And it's like, well, maybe if your kid listened better, they would swim better. And, like, but you can't say that to a parent. And it's hard to remember now because I just remember kind of the good parts, but it was a very high turnover job. Like, people would be there and then quit because it's very high stress job. We had like 4 massage chairs and like an Xbox One and a PS4 and free Uber. They kept like giving us so much
Like
just
a
to
lot of
keep people
incentives.
there.
Wow.
Just because it's very fast paced and you don't get any breaks, and like it's very tiresome picking up like hundreds of children and throwing them in the water and like playing and having that energy for the children and like creating that fun environment. Like, yeah.
How come was it just like a summertime gig, or how come you're not doing it anymore?
I don't know. It wasn't quite the work that I wanted to be doing. Because it was
Incentives
fun.
weren't that good.
Yeah, and you know, at the time I lived in Richmond, so I had to pay like bridge toll, and it took forever to get there. And
Where was it at?
oh, in the Presidio in San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But
What is Richmond like?
not good. Don't visit it. I mean, I lived on the ocean, and it was cheap because it was a radioactive zone. Like, most of the places were fenced off and you weren't allowed to walk on it because the soil was way too radioactive for, like, touching it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I lived next to the Rosie the Riveter Museum. And
Which museum?
the Rosie the Riveter Museum.
Oh,
It was a
yeah.
huge base for, for the war. And so there's lots of history and lots of very cool sculptures. But yeah, it's very radioactive. So I could afford to live there. But the rest of Richmond is not great. No, there's lots of like feral animals, like cats and dogs, and just like dogs wandering the streets and like you know, lots of people, they'll just like yell at you for no reason. Someone got in my sister's car and was like, "Hey, will you drive me to San Francisco?" And she's like, "No, like,
Excuse me?
get out of my car." So, yeah, there's not a lot like going on there.
How long ago since you lived in Richmond?
Maybe 8 months,
So
8
it was
or 9.
pretty recent.
Yeah.
Now, it seems that, do you feel like Richmond is changing at all?
It is definitely. It's hard because of gentrification. Like, it's definitely happening because we were actually bought out to not be in our apartment. So,
You can let it go. Let her finish.
Oh, okay.
yeah, we were bought out of our apartment because they renovated and made it into condos and were like, buy it or get out. And we're like, oh, okay. And that's happening a lot in Richmond because they're trying to make it a more nice place. Point Richmond is very nice. So yeah, it's getting better, but also less affordable, just like everywhere, I guess, in the Bay.
Fair enough. Okay, so the last question to wrap everything up is, what would you like to tell future Americans?
I should have thought about this question more. I think something that everyone should know that is that at the core of humans, everyone just wants to be listened to and heard. And so if you just give people the respect that they deserve and to feel listened and heard, that we would cooperate a lot better and would actually get things done and work towards a better place to live. So,
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you very much.